Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's go over the information from the JP livestream last night, and then also look at my JP account 11 months into the game. But first, I wanted to say something very important up front about the state of the game that I think will clear up some things for people, especially for people that are not very familiar with Japanese mobile games. War of the Visions, as it is now, is a very advanced game and a very young game. It is advanced in all the quality of life improvements and game modes that we've gotten. We got auto farming, we got multiple PvP modes, we got ability on-off, we got the tower, we got multiple crafting updates, we got lower rarity rainbow shard alternatives, and now we're getting barracks unit shards. These are insane updates to get in the first year of a mobile game. Some of these I wouldn't expect until the third year of a mobile game. So clearly this is a competent, well-led team that knows what it's doing. It hit the ground running even before the release of the game, and it's applying the lessons learned of like the last 7 years of mobile games in a good way. If someone thinks this game experience sucks now, they should try playing a mobile game from 5 years ago. It was rough, and it would be having them curled up in a ball crying, I guarantee. Kids these days, they just don't know how good they have it. It's really special what is going on in War of the Visions. Like, I am literally amazed all the time at how well this game is put together and run, and it's so great to see it for a property that I love. And on the other hand, this is a very young game, less than a year old in JP, which is a very short time for a Japanese mobile game. So there's certain things that we can't reasonably expect. It's way too early for 7 stars or the equivalent. There's no need for it now, or even the next year, I would say. Certain game modes that you think would be obvious additions, like super hard boss battles, are not yet in the game because most users' accounts are not ready for it. The super high difficulty stuff is coming, and that's what we're grinding now for. The game balance is great, the power creep is slow. The story overall is still in the introductory phase, and it's setting up things to be really good later. This type of Japanese mobile game is meant to be played over the course of years, and it's meant to take you months to start competing at the highest levels. And so if you want more instant gratification, you probably want to play a different game. I'm hearing a lot of voices recently saying the pace of development is too slow, but this is normal or just right, I would say. You push too hard on power creep, whether it's unit strength or quest strength, and things just snowball out of control. It's better this way, believe me. And so really with War of the Visions, we're getting the best of both worlds. Lots of advanced, friction-reducing quality of life updates to make the game easier to play, but also a very balanced, kind of early game experience where everyone can compete on a high level, even free-to-play users starting today, if they work hard like their first 6 months. So this is a special time in a special game, and folks that can only complain are missing the big picture. And I can be confident in saying this because I have played JP mobile games for years on both JP and global servers from a variety of companies in a variety of genres, and I've kept my eye on the overall mobile gaming industry for years. So although I can't predict the future of War of the Visions, and although I don't have any special insight into Square or Gumi, I can make educated guesses and give some context about why certain things do or don't happen. That being said, it's best not to compare one game to another, even if they are by the same company. Different games are run by different teams that have different ideas about balance and speed of power creep and generosity and priority of what to update. So the less expectations we have, the less disappointed we will be. And really, you can only judge a game by its own past performance. There was no word of a collaboration or any new unit, which was disappointing, but they must be holding back for the 1-year anniversary next month. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that it'll be the Final Fantasy VII Remake collaboration. It's a big event, so you might as well go big with the collaboration too. In a previous live stream from like half a year ago, they hinted that Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming, and they seemed to imply that it would be within the year, so that also informs my guess. Still, it could be something else. I expect nothing, I promise nothing. And as for new units, one thing I expect is that they will release someone very desirable right before the 1-year anniversary in order to drain folks' vision ore, and then release like Final Fantasy VII Remake to make people dig even deeper into their wallets. Is it unkind? Yes. But is it also totally predictable? Yes. So no one should feel scandalized if they spend for that unit, and then there's another great unit a week later. By now, we should all know how this works. But what unit would inspire that kind of pulling right before the anniversary? It could be Black Rose Helena, it could be that Sleepy Girl. If it is Helena and she is Dark Element, then I'll pull for her. And although it's not part of their official roadmap announcement from this live stream, they hinted at buffs for older units, specifically Edude, Rob, and Mashiri. I knew it was going to come eventually, but it was good to hear about it anyway. And the reason why I knew it was coming is because it comes to all games like this. So that's why I was able to, level Rob or Mashiri with confidence. I wasn't expecting it this early in the life of the game, however. And it will be more in the form of buffs, or like maybe more nodes on the ability board, or maybe a second master ability. It won't be like 7 stars. Again, there's no need for that yet. Hopefully Gumi and Square learned from the debacle of Brave Exvius. Okay, but finally, let's actually talk about the slide right in front of us. There will be a new mechanic called Mastery Level. They described it as not a big buff, but like if you raise the mastery level of like a certain character, then other characters on that same team will get little stat buffs. So it could be like all horn characters that you use together, or maybe all water characters or something. Not a lot of details there, but yeah, it could be interesting. Next is a guild quest. They describe this as like you need to give like offerings to the statues in order to level them up. But they described it as like doing quests in order to raise the levels of the statues, which could be cool. And then it'll be like a quick auto battle thing, so if you are like low on materials, I guess that would be useful for that. Next are improvements to match battles or class matches. Let's see, it will link you up with somebody else that has the same playstyle, whether auto or manual. Generally, the manual players have the advantage, so that will help a little bit more with the odds of who you play against. And then they'll add the ability to watch friends or other users do their battles. And that's really great, because you can get new ideas for unit builds or team builds or tactics there. And then there's a bunch of UI improvements. You can like check needed materials for equipment and stuff more easily. You can check how many items you have before you set a certain number of auto farm quests. So that should all be very nice. And then at the bottom is Other. These are the most interesting updates. The very bottom one there is voices added to MR and lower rarity units. And then the one above that is units in the barracks. You'll be able to get shards for them. That's very, very crazy. This was totally out of the blue. I was not expecting anything like this until maybe like year 3 of a game. But it will work for limited units too, which is very generous of the developers. And so like this would be attractive to me in my global account. I could pull for Fravia, who is a limited unit, who I want to stay away from in my global account. But I could slowly work on her and still have a usable unit, so that's kind of cool. I don't expect a ton of shards from this mechanic, maybe like 1 a day or something. It will probably depend on the level of the statue attached to that ability, and then perhaps that statue will only take offerings that cost vision ore. That would be how I would design it, but the developers have surprised me many times with their generosity, so we'll have to wait and see what's possible there. But yeah, this game is very, very generous, and I take it as a good sign. Some people interpret it as like desperation in order to keep players or to get new players, but I take it as a good sign. They're making so much money that they can afford to give out all this stuff. Okay, next let's do a month 11 account show and tell. I feel like I just did this, but time flies, I guess, when you're having fun. But here on the main screen, this is Krace. She is the most recent free character. I did a post just kind of talking about her quest, but it was very, very difficult. And then for her, you had to beat all of the missions, you know? Like beat it 5 times, clear all missions in one go, do multiplayer a number of times before you could get all of her shards. And I guess I can show you her real quick, but there she is. As you can see, I've gotten all the shards for her. Main job Gunner, sub job Viking, and then other sub job is Sniper. Sniper's interesting because it has like a lot of status effects that you don't see in Gunner. There is an attack which can dispel guys. She doesn't have that, unfortunately. But also like Barrier, Breaker, and other stuff, so interesting subjob. But the reason why I really leveled her up was for her Trustmaster. This is a gun, pretty good attack, some accuracy, and then the passive ability is Hate Down. That's pretty wild. You can kind of take a tank out of the match with that attack, so that could be really good. Alright, but anyway, let's look at my vision cards. I've talked about this a lot recently, so not too much more to say here. I'm most actively working on this Mask card for the Projectile Resistance Party ability, and then the Man-Eater personal ability, and then also Odin. He's featured right now, so I've been buying his shards a little bit. I'll get him to 3 stars pretty soon. Otherwise, I've been thinking about this card a lot. I haven't been working on it, obviously, because it's limited time from Final Fantasy XIV, but this has a party ability of Light Attack Up, and so that makes me think about a mono light team. And then I don't even have a lot of good light characters, but I know someday in the future I will. So maybe if the Final Fantasy XIV collaboration comes back, I will want to buy shards for that. Oh, and I finally pulled Titan in JP. I also did a recent comment about that. Funny timing. Happy to have him. His Esper especially will be good with all of the spirit in there. And then I finished the Chocobo card, so agility up 10, that's great. And then Bloody Moons will give you area of effect resistance plus 15 for your party, that's very nice. And I think that's all I wanted to say about vision cards there. Okay. Next we can look at equipment. And it's taken me almost a full year, but I've kind of come around on crafting, and I almost kind of enjoy it now. But let's see, weapons, anything new here? I finished the Ras Al Gethi +5 Assault the other day. This has been very exciting. And still, it's one of the best guns in the game, so even if a gun is like, half a year old, you don't need to worry about it being power crept. And then here was Sakura's Rod. This was very easy to farm, just like 2-3 nights of overnight auto farm, and I was able to get the +5 here. It'll give you lightning, and then light attack up, and then also magic attack up 15, so very nice. Good for Salia, good for anybody that uses Holy. And that's about it for weapons, I think. For armor... there really hasn't been any change lately. This was another easy to farm piece of equipment. Again, 2-3 nights of overnight auto farm, and I was able to get that. But a robe with slash resistance, that's very cool. Still need to work on the Baal Bargonet and then the Platinum Robe. Probably not going to finish them until next year, but I'm okay with that. And then items. No real change here either. This is the water ring from 2 towers ago or so. The last tower you could get a light element ring, I think. But I just didn't feel like playing it, so maybe the next time the tower comes around I'll play that then. And then here, this is the Ring of Protection. This is interesting because it will give you plus 25 projectile resistance, which is insane, but it'll only last for 3 turns. I don't like that limit of how long it lasts. I want it to last the entire fight, so that's why I didn't build this one. And then there's the Elf's Cape. I would love to craft this sometime, but just don't have the materials, so I'll work on that later. I got all the recipes I need, but still need materials. Okay, then finally we can look at units. Who have I been using a lot lately? Gurasida, she's brand new to me, so I've been using her a lot. Luasa, she is great. Super Stern, still love Super Stern. And then I have all these limited characters that I'm looking at, and then I'll be able to put them in the barracks from November in order to get their shards. I'd love to max Thancred. Yeah, but these other guys, someday I'd like to get them to 99. To take them from 89 to 99 would be another 10,000 lapis, and I don't know if I want to spend that. And then here's my MRs, nothing much to say there. Alright, and then favorited units, these are the units that I'm working on now. All of these MR units, these are limit break 4 or higher, so that's why they're there. One of these days, I'll max them all. Okay, I think that'll do it for this video. So that was a little pep talk about the current state of the game, a look at the announcements from the live stream last night, and then the state of my account after 11 months. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.